Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Money Matters Top Tips for Success, where each and every day I bring on new business owners, entrepreneurs, and executives and have them share their top tips for success with you. My name is Adam Torres. You can follow me on Instagram at @AdamTorres to keep up with my book releases, book tour schedule, signings, all that other good stuff. Always love to connect with you there. And as always, if you'd like to apply to become a co-author of one of my upcoming books, just head over to the website, moneymatterstoptips.com, and click on Become an Author to apply. So Hugh, let's get into what you're doing as Chairman and CEO over at DNA Behavior today. And we're also going to talk about your book today, Leadership Behavior DNA, Discovering Natural Talents and Managing Differences. But first, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Adam. It's great to be with you. Yeah, so a lot of the work we're doing at the moment, do you want me to go to that?
Let's get into DNA behavior. Yeah, let's just jump right in.
Yeah, so a lot of the work, Adam, that we're doing at the moment is helping corporations understand human behavioral differences on a scalable basis. So we're using our technology platforms and integrating into an ecosystem of other technology platforms to deliver behavioral insights that business leaders, financial advisors, families, consumers can use to understand how they're different to others and create customized behavioral experiences.
And so, Hugh, first off, I can talk to you all day about what you're doing over at DNA Behavior, but let's switch it up because I do want to spend some time on the new book. So, Leadership Behavior DNA, Discovering Natural Talents and Managing Differences. So, what was the inspiration for the book?
Well, for me personally, one of my inspirations was just to do more work with Lee Ellis, who's my mentor, and he's the co-author with the book. But from a business perspective, what we really wanted to bring out was how human beings are different. And, you know, for me, I believe in leadership. There's lots of leadership presenters out there, consultants, thought leaders. And a lot of it comes down to, you know, talking about the fact that people, you know, need to influence others. You know, courage is needed. How do you listen? Et cetera, but to me they're all table stakes type things or concepts that a leader needs to be able to address. What's fundamental if you're going to be successful as a leader is not only knowing yourself and what your talents are, but importantly being able to manage the differences with others. And that's whether, you know, as a leader, how are you different to those in your team, and from that getting the most out of them by leveraging their talents, but also helping your team members understanding those differences, because it's the differences that can get in the way of people and teams and then therefore businesses achieving their goals. That's really the big problem for most teams, and what we wanted to do was provide a framework for people to start to spot those differences and how to work with them and get the most out of them.
So I'm a big fan of you know, the goal assessment, surveys, DISC, all of these other things, anything to get to understand myself or my team better so that we can better understand and communicate and work with each other. That being said, you know, I want to give the audience a little bit of a flavor of your system. Obviously, we don't have time to go into all of it today, but I want to give everybody a little bit of a flavor of what they can expect to get when they dive into this book.
So when you dive into the book, you're going to get a very concrete, structured framework to go and see how people are different in terms of their strengths and struggles. It would be better if the reader, while they're going through the book, actually completes our Leadership Behavior DNA assessment or goes to our website at dnabehavior.com and completes one of the assessments and gets the insights for them, and then they can as they go through the book, start to reflect on the people that they've worked with, who might be in their family, and start to, you know, to get those aha moments of where they've been missing a trick in dealing with people. But, you know, to go back to it, the book is really providing a very concrete framework. There's a lot of stories in there where, you know, Lee and I have been in leadership situations where we've helped out teams. For example, one of the early ones that I dealt with was really around trust. We worked with a leadership team at a consulting firm, and I noticed that everybody on the team had pretty much the same style within a few points, but the company had a huge trust issue. And, that story is in the book, and being able to bring that out for them and show them how building a people culture in their organization would be important, and that they needed people different to them was important. So that's what the book's going. That's what the book's going to show you. So it's not just stories that are empty with no takeaway point. This is really it's not a textbook, but it's at that sort of level of providing a graphical experience so that you can actually see it. If that's the way you learn, you could flip through the book and you're going to see different people, how they tick. You're going to see yourself in there and what to do with it.
That's awesome. And I'm looking at the way the book is outlined. So Section 2, DNA, just to give everybody that's listening an idea. The DNA behavior factors and traits, the command factor, the people factor, the patience factor, the structure factor, the trust factor, the pioneer factor, the risk factor, the creative factor. Really great. I love the way the book's organized, so you can really kind of go through it and get an idea. And also it's great for reference as you kind of categorize not just yourself, but as you work with through this book with your team in your company, then you kind of know how to flip back and remind yourself of, oh, wait a minute, what is that? Let's see what that means again. Or what's the people? What's the trust? What is it? How does that play into the situation? I love the way the book's organized. Let's get into what the application of this looks like. So I see Chapter 23, Behavior Predicts Team Dynamics. Let's go into that a little bit.
So if you're a team leader, and I always believe that everything starts off with the leader. The leader's got to go first. The leader is front and center. Whether a team works or not is usually going to come down to the leader, and they're responsible for who is on the team. So, what we've done there in that chapter is shown how these different behaviors come up in a team, what to do about it, and if you're the leader, how you can use the book really almost as a framework for managing your team. Once you know yourself, and hopefully you've got insights on each of the team members, it's going to give you the direction and guidance on how to deal with each person uniquely. And that's a lot of what Lee and I have always believed in, is that we've got to be able to provide unique experiences for each person in the team. If they're not treated as unique individuals, at some point they're going to leave. They've got to, the team members have got to feel understood. And that's really the big problem and why people leave companies. It's not usually about the money. I mean, of course, it can be sometimes. It's normally about how they're managed. And so, this is a great book, if you're a leader particularly, on how to get in touch with your team, to engage them. And that's where a lot of leaders struggle, is when the problem comes up, Adam, in a team, a lot of leaders withdraw. They don't communicate properly, and then they come in and thump the table and say this is what they want, or they start pushing people around. Whereas if you can learn some of this, you can engage earlier. It makes it easier to have those difficult conversations and really make the difficult conversation, in the end, a relatively easy conversation if you know how to confront people. So it's providing that framework on how to adapt to each person in the team and ensure that you don't keep on hiring people who are like you. You want to hire differences. And this is really what we're bringing out. Differences are an asset, but if not understood, they become a liability.
That's awesome. And so I like to transition back to your DNA behavior a bit. So that being said, we know what the book does. We have a good flavor of what to expect and how it helps in team and leadership dynamic. How does this tie into the overall business? So are you able to help companies go through this and work in the overall program, or how does this look overall? If somebody reads the book and they're like, this is great, but I want more.
Yes, so the business model that we have is that let's say a leader picks this book up at Amazon and reads it and is inspired by it. We'd want them to go through read the book. We'd want them to be coached. We would provide them with some coaching so they really understood it for themselves. Then we would have, in that process, they would complete one of our assessments, business DNA or the leadership behavior DNA assessment itself. So there's one which is outlined in the book specifically for leadership, showing you leadership traits, and the report reads to you as if you're a leader. Then we would want all the team members to go through it. They would get some one-on-one sessions as well to coach them up, and then we take them through some kind of team session where they're all together and they discuss the differences and hopefully laugh about them and build a framework for working together in the long term. From that, it's really about hiring, so using the insights that we have to hire better. At the end of the day, while the book talks about eight primary factors, we actually measure over 200 factors of behavior. They're all baked into a hiring model, which can be used by the organization. Then there's just ongoing leadership coaching. But you can also break this down, Adam, into, to other specialty areas. We help organizations work out where their rogue employees are. Who's the person that's likely to, if not managed properly, to potentially go off the rails if they're under extreme pressure. So that's an area that we've been doing more work with. We've been helping organizations with adaptability. What's called the AQ quotient is a big thing out there in business today, and organizations need to be flexible, and you need to have flexible people on your team. Who are those that can move quickly? You want to have some of them on your team and to be a nimble organization, but of course you need still people to look after the processes and procedures. So, we can do that kind of consulting work really to get the business organizationally developed in the right way to match the service delivery that it wants to provide in the business environment it's operating in.
That's awesome. So, Hugh, if somebody is listening to this and if they want to pick up the book or they want to reach out to learn more about DNA behavior, what's the best way for them to do that?
So the best way is to go to dnabehavior.com. That's our website. And there on the homepage, the book is showing up, and they can click from there and go to Amazon and buy it. That's going to be the easiest way to do that. And if they want services from us, there's plenty of places to click on the website under products, solutions, and training where they can get in touch with us to get started with all of this.
Fantastic. Well, hey, Hugh, really love the great work that both you and Lee are doing. I know I had Lee on the show prior, and now to hear the other side of the story, I'm like, man, you two are the dynamic duo. I love it. And I love the work you're doing to help companies and entrepreneurs and business owners out there succeed and to manage their teams better and to more effectively and to get results, really, is what it comes down to. So appreciate you coming on the show today. And to the audience, as always, thank you for tuning in. Hope you got a lot of value out of this. If you did, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast, leave me a review on the Apple iTunes Store, do all those great things we do to support our podcasters. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Money Matters Top Tips. And Hugh, thanks again for coming on the show.
Thanks a lot, Adam. Look forward to next time.